Thanks for checking out this video. This is actually my build a chair from a tree video inspired by the book of the same name. However, I have taken some different twists and turns here, you'll see. So here we go with this video. So I start off modeling this chair off of a chair that we bought. Actually, we got for free from a Goodwill auction or whatever. It was left over, nobody wanted it, so I took it. And my wife fell in love with the design. She really liked sitting on it and enjoyed the look of it. And so I said, hey, I'm going to take a chair, take measurements from the chair, and then try and copy the chair by using a log and some materials that I had. And so this is the process of me doing that. So I'm going to be narrating this video, and I'll kind of try and tell you how I did this along the way. If you're looking for a version of this video where without me talking, it just has the sound of the shop in the background, I'm going to post another one, just an ASMR video for people to watch with just the building. There are a few sections of this where the sound is muted because I had music playing in the shop, and so I had to take that out for copyright reasons. So we start off by measuring this chair, drawing it out, and getting the angles of the posts and legs along with the seat and the design of the seat all measured out and written down so that basically I could deconstruct this chair into a drawing, so I could then obviously build it out. The original Build a Chair from a Tree book has you do kind of a stick chair and then that woven seat, but I'm actually going to do a traditional stick chair with like a Windsor chair that comes out from the seat. So all the branches come out from the seat, they grow from the seat. And so you'll see that here. I got this slab. I got some slabs of walnut from a friend who was milling them, and he was just started milling them, and so he gave me some of them. And this one is just big enough to use for this seat, and so it's just a whole slab of a log. Not traditionally what you'd use for a solid seat, but it works, and I figured I'd give it a shot. You'll find out that this whole process was really interesting as far as the materials I used and the ways that I decided to go about doing it. Here I start the process of splitting this log. Now, this log was also given to me by someone who was milling some walnut in their yard. It's actually their father's yard, and so I got some logs. And this log, as I began to pull it apart, I learned something. It was very twisted, and so very difficult log to split, but very difficult wood to use. It's kind of twisted. So we did lovingly name this chair the Twisted Walnut Chair because it was difficult. In fact, my mentor / friend, who kind of has taught me a little bit about chair making, he saw me post my first video on Instagram about it and how twisted the wood was, and he said I would just stop now. He said that chair is going to give you a lot of heartache, and he was not wrong. It was a difficult piece, but at the end of it, I'm glad that I did finish it because it's an interesting, unique chair, and one that me and Alyssa say has a lot of whimsy. We like that word, whimsy. So here it is. So here you just basically wedge the log apart. I'm actually going to post a full-length video of just the log process of splitting the log. That's real time, so you can see kind of what it took, because it was a process, and I injured my hand in the process as well, but it wasn't too bad. It healed in a couple weeks. After you get it split there, you just cut the fibers apart and it comes apart. So that was I don't know how long it was, but that was a lot of work. So then we just simply chainsaw the pieces off in the sizes that you want. Now we're going to be splitting the wood here in this device. Basically, we are going to get a nice start in there and then put my little wedger in there, my little fro, and we'll split them down, trying following the grain there and use that to follow the grain. It's a homemade mallet from a piece of Osage orange. It's great for beating that thing down into there. And then once you get a good split going in there, just again move it over here and put it between those two metal bars and crack it down the side, helps split it open and begin to get my pieces. You carefully put pressure on that back side of that wood, keeps it from splitting away from the grain, keeps the pressure on it so it stays with the grain as much as you can. I'm going to get that bark off of there now. Here we go. Looks like we got some leg pieces ready. Now I go over here and start taking the axe, start roughing the shape. So we just got to get down to a circle-esque shape here. So we're going to cut all the high corners off all the way around with this axe, just chopping. We got a long way to go still, and so you'll see that I just go to town on it here before we switch over to the draw knife. And like I said, the draw knife is here now, and so we're going to pull out even more, and we're going to want to pull off huge chunks like this, getting down to size. And so you'll see me fighting it. My arms were so sore through this process. I can't tell you how sore my arms were. I'd come in for probably 3 days straight of doing workout here, and just my arms would be on fire. So after you get the draw knife done, you can simply just go down to a smaller tool with your spoke shave and start rounding those corners off even more. You want to keep a pretty close eye on how close you're getting for your final dimensions so that you don't go too far. The expression, it's easier to take wood off than it is to put it back on. So here's 3 of the legs lined up. They're making sure they're all similar in size. And boom, look at all those parts. Just like that. It's that easy. That's all you got to do is just put your hand over the lens and everything's fixed. Cutting out the seat now. We got that shape drawn on there from our original drawing you saw in the beginning of the video. And so we just go through and cut out the shape that's traced on there with the bandsaw. And the seat shape is cut out. An awesome storm we had. It just blew through, and I opened up the garage door. It was a nice summer day. Not like today when I'm recording this. It's cold outside. It was a nice summer day with the wind blowing and the warm rain. It was kind of a nice moment. We're checking the angle here for measuring angles. Just using that little angle finder with that, and then we can find the angle we need and then tape it down to the seat. And you'll see that that's the angle in which the leg is supposed to be drilled for the bottom of the chair. And then if you see the laser right across I'm adjusting right now, that keeps the angle from the front. So you have the front angle kept on the drill and then the side angle with the little angle finder there. And you just try and match the two up with your drill bit and do the best you can. It can tend to be a stressful moment, but it doesn't have to be. You just relax. It's okay. You got all the time in the world. Now here I'm finding the point of the seat. I want kind of be the center lip of the seat where all the corners will round down to. And so I'm going through and just marking that. I had to make sure that that piece of wood had a natural kind of edge there, and I needed to get that angle to be to where I could get that edge off of there. So here I am trying to math it all out, make sure it works right and looks right. And then I'm rounding all these corners with the draw knife, just a quick rough around those corners to try and take some chunks out to get some shape of that chair done quick. That draw knife is a quick and dirty tool. It works pretty well, has a lot of accuracy. And now I do the same thing with the spoke shave. Again, just going down around all those curves and getting all those corners nice and shaped. here's that back piece. Needs to be curved. Unfortunately, not going to be able to press that down there, Ryan. You aren't quite strong enough to do that. So we built a steam box for this project, and we're steaming it. So I'm plugging in my steamer, and you let it steam for about an hour. And notice the, watch, ooh, steamy. So it's been in there about an hour. Pop it out. Put it into your form, and then tighten it up. If I had to do this over again, I would make the curve more exaggerated because of spring back, and you can look up spring back in that, but I need to figure out the right calculations for how much spring back there is, because I did get a little bit spring back in the final form. Wasn't quite the angle I wanted. It worked fine, but I would have liked it to be more. Here we're putting the tenons on the legs, my little tenoner. That makes it pretty easy to do. And the first fit up of the 4 legs in the bottom of the chair. So I'm taking the legs to the sander here to do some finish smoothing, get some of those last ridges out. Up to 220 grit. Gets them nice and clean and smooth. Now doing the same on the seat, getting it all sanded up to 220. Again, making sure we have the right legs in the right places, making sure they fit right. And now I'm getting the chair level here, getting them spaced out correctly. Now, see, I'm leveling the chair. We want to get those legs to where they're pretty close at this point to get them cut to the final size. Right here is going to be where we put our spindles and start thinking about spindles for our legs. And so that's one reason you want to make it level. Here I'm marking each of the legs for spindles all the way around, so we have the right drill points selected. Putting in the spindle deck groove here on the back of the chair. And then I am putting in some extra detail around the legs, just some grooves that go around at the points where the spindles and the stretchers going through the legs there. Now I'm drilling the stretchers across. You can see how easy it is by my facial expression. And that's not science, just lining it up and then pointing the back of the drill to the place where it's going on the other side, and you try and get it as straight across as you can. Here I am doing some more sanding of the parts, the stretchers, getting ready to go in there at the bottom part of the leg. Taking my 2 measuring sticks here and putting them into the holes and then drawing a line, and then taking them out and then putting them back together at the line will give me the distance that the spindles need to be across there, and then I can mark my spindles for length and then cut them to size and then tenon them. You'll see that in a second. But that's how you can take the size of something that you can't measure inside of, get that measurement there, and have what you need. Now I'm taking the front spindle sorry, the front stretcher, and putting my tenons on it. And I lost my tenoner. And back to sanding. Lots of sanding. It's much easier to sand these pieces before they get glued onto the chair than after, so we do it. Here's my dry assembly, first dry assembly of the bottom of the chair, the carriage of the chair, the undercarriage of the chair. And as you put the top on, all of the pieces pull in tighter to each other. And it looks nice and solid. Now it's time to get ready for those wedges. We're getting ready to put the chair undercarriage together. So we'll take that Japanese pole saw and we will cut our line down or cut down the center of these tenons. And before you do that, while the leg is in the seat, you mark which direction you need to cut it so it's not splitting the wood. It's going in the right appropriate direction. Now we cut our wedges out here, and it's simply done by cutting at a slight angle and then flipping the piece and then cutting another one and flipping it and cutting it. And just you can make a ton of wedges this way just by sliding it through there. I just have my little gauge set at like 5 degrees or something like that. And here is the glue up. I'm going to do a full video in regular time of both the undercarriage glue up and the back glue up. To explain kind of what's going on, because it can be stressful. And so if you'd like to watch that, check out the channel. You can find the individual video. After they're dry, we come in and cut off our nubs there and get it flat to the seat. This seat's pretty easy because there's not too much dip in it, especially yet. I haven't done it yet, so usually before you do this, you would go ahead and carve the butt of the seat out, but I did it differently this time. I was trying something different. Figuring out my back spindles, what they're going to look like, what angle they're going to go at, making sure it all looks good, and I'm sanding them up before we get to that part of the process again. More sanding. Here I'm cheating. I am using a little grinder carving attachment to carve as much of the material out as I can, just to make the process go a little faster. Again, this seat doesn't have too much of a butt carved out of it. So just did that, got a little bit out, as much as I wanted, the main material, then I came back with a sander and just sanded through the grits and smoothed it out. And then took my Travisher just to get those final curves out of there. And I was happy with the way the seat turned out. It was not the traditional way of using it, but I did it that way. It worked okay. Now here I'm drilling my spindles, my back large spindles, lined up here, same on the angle with the angle finder, and then I had the laser pointed across there. You can't see it right now. The chair was moving. I do not suggest you do it like this. I suggest you lock the chair down somehow. Either get a ladder or some way you can get above it to drill down. first fit up of the spindles, the main back spindles. The back piece is done. It's been in there, at this point I think it had been in there for 3 or 4 days, so it's been in there quite a long time. And it's curved. Sanding it up, getting it ready. Now I'm cutting the ends of them down. I'm going to put the tensioner on there, and so I need to get them ready for the tensioner to go on. In hindsight, I probably wouldn't have done it this way, knowing how it turned out. My tenons were really large, and I didn't need them to be that large, so I should have probably measured that out better instead of just going the full depth, but it ended up looking okay. I would do it a little differently next time, though. Now that we have that main cross support across the back support in, we're going to be drilling these spindles. Now we're putting the tenons on the spindles here with a simple little, it's like a pencil sharpener doodad, but it's to get it to that right specific size there on the tip. So they'll all fit perfectly into these little holes. And we'll get them in there and get them lined up and begin to see how it looks, how it's going to look. Get the correct positioning. Now we'll mark out all our locations here, and so that we can come back and drill and find the exact locations for each of the spindles. Now I'm using my little punch here just to go ahead and punch these holes just so I have a nice clean mark of where to start this drill bit. This is a kind of a harrowing operation. There's not much room on either side of the drill bit in the wood, so you need to be straight. On one of my chairs I made, I broke through, and it just is a tough repair to make and make look good. So you just want to make sure you nail this. Now using the same trick here with the 2 sticks, so you can get the exact length of the pieces, and then bring that measurement down to your spindle, mark your spindle, and cut it. Now we're just putting a quick tenon on the ends, the opposite ends of the piece of spindle here, because the other ends have tenons, but not these. as you pound all this stuff in, all these should begin to pull tight. It should be tight on both sides, should be tight on those spindles. You might have to adjust some things to make some sizes correct, but it should be pretty tight and pretty close. Here we go, it's a final seat sand, getting all the stuff sanded and lined up. We're gonna do a glue up for this upper carriage, part of the chair in the back. Rounding the corners, I cut the ends of these with the long spindles, the big spindles off, and just rounded the edges on the sander. It gives a nice kind of nub look. Go through and sand all the pieces again. Everything is lined up and ready. We are prepping for our final glue up on this chair. It's time for the last glue up of the chair. We're gluing up the back. You just got to be smart when you do it. Think about it. Chris Schwartz says your IQ drops by 10 points every time you open that glue bottle, so be smart. Cutting off the wedged portion of the main spindles coming through there. And now I'm checking the level of the table I'm working on to make sure it's close. And then I match the level on the chair seat so that we can make sure the legs are the appropriate level or length and level for what we're doing. So to make it level, I just throw the little spacers there underneath the seat. And once it's at the right level, I can then mark them all with my fancy pencil there and then cut them. And I am doing a first test here. Checking it out. Does it feel good? Does it feel right? Does it wobble? Comparing it to the other chair, the original. Seeing how they feel. If I got close, or is it way off? I ended up wanting to take a little bit more off this side, and so I measured that, and I'm going to take just another little chunk off to make it even. I'm going to go through and round off the edges of the chair here. What that helps with is when the chair slides across the floor, it won't catch and split out the wood there. That's one of the most vulnerable parts of the chair. And then sanding, a lot of sanding to prep for the finish. Now I'm going to go through and wipe it all down with mineral spirits just to clean off dust and get any sort of residue off that's there. And once it's wiped down with mineral spirits, we will begin the final process. Oh, wait, before that, we will put the old Ramsey R in there. But the final process here is put a coat of shellac on it. Wipe shellac on all the parts of it. And after you get shellac over the whole thing, give it a good day to dry. And then come back with light sand on 400 grit sandpaper and get all the parts. It'll take it from feeling a little rough to feeling completely smooth. And there you have it. That is the Twisted Walnut, a chair with a lot of whimsy. Really glad I got to do this project. It's a beautiful chair. My wife was really pleased. She wouldn't let me sell it. She wants to keep it. It's currently sitting in our kitchen. Hope to make some more, maybe not just like this, just maybe in this style. Hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you got learned something, or you got to enjoy somebody making something with their hands. Hope it was a blessing to you. If you did enjoy it, give it a thumbs up and maybe hit that subscribe button for more woodworking content coming to you soon. Every little bit helps us. We're just a small business, small YouTube site, YouTube page. So if you could do that, it would help. Thanks again for watching. It's Ramsey Legacy Woodworks walnut, twisted walnut chair with a lot of whimsy. See you next time.